Also about Brock Bowers from Georgia.
Love the kid. Brock Bowers is going to have a heck of an NFL career.
This guy might have the best hands of any pass catcher in the entire draft.
I'm not in love with him as a top 10 pick. And the reason is it's almost like running back for me. I feel I can get a tight end, a tweener, that tight end in a different round. Promise you I can.
And you would be so very wrong.
Brock Bowers is a phenomenal player, and he plays a position that is highly valuable. I think what you're going to hear a lot during this process is about the devaluing of the tight end position. 8 Super Bowl. Kelsey twice, best tight end in football. Cooper Kupp for the Rams. You had Gronk in there. Kelsey again. Gronk again. Zach Ertz led the Eagles in receiving that year, and Gronk again.
The Indianapolis Colts are a team that has been stuck around the middle of the pack in the NFL for a few years or so, going from old quarterback to old quarterback. And it seems as if the Colts never learned their lesson. Now with the addition of Anthony Richardson, it finally seems like the Colts may be headed in the right direction. However, as many of us Colts fans know, injury struck the QB early, and we spent another season watching a quarterback who had flashes of good and bad, but either way would not be the long-term solution at the quarterback position. Even with that being the case though, there are things to be excited and happy for. Head coach Shane Steichen seems to be the real deal. He is a little risky, but every play he draws up has me going like, damn, that was a really good play. There is no more running back controversy in the city of Indianapolis. Michael Pittman Jr. has signed to a pretty good contract. Kenny Moore also signed a new deal, becoming the highest paid slot corner in NFL history. And although there are things to be happy for, the Colts still are not ready to make a push at a championship right now. The Colts ranked 24th in defensive ranking last year according to Fox Sports. And when Michael Pittman Jr. had to sit out due to a concussion last year, it seems as if the field got smaller due to the lack of playmaking on that field. Okay, so with that being the case, which area should the Colts address? Should they go out there and try to get the best defensive player on the board, address those defensive struggles? Or should they go after something more flashy, something that I believe will help the development of your young and up-and-coming quarterback? And we're going to get into all of that in this video, but before we do that, make sure that you guys like, comment, and also subscribe to the channel. We are on the way to 2,000 subscribers. Help a brother out, and with that, let's get into this video. The Colts currently have the 15th pick in the draft. In my honest opinion, the 3 most important needs right now are safety, corner, and offensive playmaker, i.e. wide receiver or tight end. And in a perfect world, you would get all of those in this up and coming draft. And in my personal opinion, the perfect fit for an organization who has continued to have question marks offensively since the departure of Andrew Luck and other key pieces to this offense would be to go out and get that offensive playmaker first. Make that the priority. Then focus on the defensive side of the ball in the later rounds, ensuring the success of a young quarterback like Anthony Richardson. And this is pivotal in this draft, and I believe the addition of Brock Bowers will increase the chances of Anthony Richardson having a career that is successful right here in Indy. Now, I know a lot of people are going to see this and say, well, why? He's a tight end. You should want to go after the best defensive guy or try to go up and get one of those top wide receivers. And to that I say, listen. Brock Bowers is the real deal. If you look at the landscape of the entire NFL, even if you go back to when Shannon Sharp played back in the day with him and John Elway, a great tight end can make things a lot easier for everybody. Brady had Gronk. Patrick Mahomes had Travis Kelce and still has Travis Kelce. Anthony Richardson has Brock Bowers. I hope so. But anyway, anybody who watched Brock Bowers in college can tell you that Brock Bowers was a nightmare for any defense, all defenses that he went up against. And somehow, some way, the man continued to be wide open each and every time Georgia needed somebody to make a play. At Georgia, he recorded 2,538 total yards with an average of 14.5 yards per catch. He had around 800 yards his freshman year, 900 his sophomore year, and he had around 700 this past year. But you may see that and say, hey, why did he have such a drop off from one year to the next? Well, the guy had an ankle injury and still averaged around 12.8 yards per catch. And if that is not enough information for you, let me tell you this. According to Pro Football Focus, Bowers totaled 1,487 yards after the catch. And I know many people see Bowers and think to themselves, well, he's just a pass catcher, which he can do. I agree with that. We need more of that on this team, but listen to what I'm telling you. He is not just a pass catcher. The guy can block as well if he needs to. And the number one thing that I love about Brock Bowers is the fact that he seems to elevate his game in the biggest moments when Georgia needed a big play. He was always the one that seemed to make it. I believe Brock will have an instant impact on the field and be a early Rookie of the Year candidate depending on where he lands. And I hope that's the Colts. But let me take you guys back to the national championship game against Alabama. Georgia was facing them. It was the fourth quarter. It was about 3 minutes and 38 seconds left. Who does Stetson Bennett turn to in this time of need? The game was still pretty much in anybody's hands at this point. A 31. If Alabama gets to stop, they still have a chance to potentially go and win the game and steal it. And if you look at the way that Brock Bowers made it his mission to make this play in order to secure this win, this is exactly what the Indianapolis Colts need on their team. Now, that may seem like such a simple and easy play to you, but you have to understand the magnitude of the situation. Who else does the Georgia Bulldogs turn to? The guy that they can trust the most. If you put the ball in this guy's hands, things are going to happen. He went basically untouched on this play. It was a great play by Kirby Smart in this situation, but at the same time, it's important to note who that is with the ball, how fast he's able to get downhill, how fast he's able to go from point A to point B as a tight end who can do multiple things within an offense. But I know some of you guys will disagree with me. The Colts definitely need help on the defensive side of the ball. I do agree with that. But for a team that has been deprived of offensive production for so long, I believe that it's time for a change. Guys like Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, and Alec Pierce are good enough to hold it down on the outside right now. I believe Brock Bowers would make them better because he is someone who is a dual threat. Someone who you can line up anywhere on the field. If he needs to go to the slot, he can play in the slot. Defenses are going to have to be very concerned. They're going to have to game plan for Brock Bowers. Anthony Richardson will have a guy who is amazing at being a safety net. When a play breaks down, you got Anthony Richardson scrambling back there, not knowing where to go or not having anywhere to go. When a play breaks down, who is going to be there wide open for a pass? I can guarantee you, if the Colts draft him, it's going to be Brock Bowers. In the same fashion that Kelsey is to Patrick Mahomes, Brock Bowers is just not a tight end alone. He can do so much more. He's a Swift Army type of guy. And that's the type of guy the Indianapolis Colts need more of on their roster. He's a playmaker. And wherever he falls, if it's not the Colts, I can guarantee you one thing, that he will prove to be one of the best players in the NFL draft.